But I share this with you because it's not about if you have clairaudience. You do. You do. Everyone does. Everyone has clairaudience. It's about if you have a disconnect. It's about if you have a disconnect. I spent a lot of my life contemplating this disconnect. And I felt really alone in my perceptions. I longed to find other people who shared them or to show other people how, so I wouldn't be so alone in them. And this is also a big cornerstone of my why and why I do what I do and why I'm so passionate about teaching. And when I launched my healing practice in 2015, I've had ample opportunity over the past, how many years to witness what creates this disconnect in people. And I figured it out. And it has everything to do with your throat chakra. Everything to do with your throat chakra. You have physical senses, you have physical ears to hear the sounds of the physical world. You also have energetic ears to hear the sounds of the energy world. And this is powered by your throat chakra. Your clairaudience is powered by your throat chakra. Your throat chakra is your energy sensory center. Like your ears are your energy sensory center to hear sounds of the physical. Your throat chakra is your energetic sensory center for hearing the sound frequencies of the energy world. And it also transmits your unique frequency through your voice. So your optimal clairaudience allows for clear messages, right? Messages from your higher self, your angels and guides, telepathic messages, sounds of astral. But if your clairaudience is distorted, it results in conflicting messages, doubts, negative thinking, second guessing yourself, your disconnect. That's your disconnect, right? So there can sometimes be distorted clairaudience from birth. If you're born with throat chakra wounds from previous lifetimes, or you inherit, throat chakra blockages from parents. But most of the time, it's just a combination of obstructions in the throat chakra, energy blocks, cords, invasive energies, damage to the throat chakra. So let's get technical. Let's get technical here. All right. You have 2 ears on either side of your body. You also have 2 funnels to the left and the right from your throat chakra. And these are the areas where you're receiving psychic, energetic information. Clairaudio. This is your clairaudio space, right? Energy from sound frequencies of the physical world will also collect here. If it's a dense energy from the physical world, it could collect here. Like most sound frequencies, low frequency in this world, like gossip, media, music, verbal abuse, right? This low frequency sound can collect in these areas. That's contributing to what's clogging up your throat chakra. Now let's talk about the backside of the throat chakra and the back of your neck, right? The back of your neck. This is the location that powers your connect or disconnect to your mind. And this is a really popular place that invasives seek to attach to. And your angels and guides can help you to protect it. And you can receive messages from low or high frequency beings, depending on the condition of your throat chakra. If your throat chakra is clear, it's a high frequency, you can receive messages from high frequency beings. The environment's conducive, right? But if it's low frequency, then it's going to be conducive for invasives. And you could get a low frequency throat chakra by living around someone or having people in your environment that are always speaking negatively. That energy is going to collect. And that's going to create an environment that's conducive for invasive energies. And just some small examples, and these are just a couple examples. I mean, if you think about it, this looks like a lot, but this is just a couple little examples. There's so much more. It's so much that the whole picture would look black, right? If we really stopped to think like how much would accumulate here. But there's psychic noise pollution from technology, damage to your throat chakra from cords, entities, verbal abuse, low frequency media, insults like verbal abuse from your ex still there, just ideas, just giving you some ideas of what can accumulate in the throat chakra area. And by the way, right, remember the left would be female and the right would be male. So if you're around a man who's always speaking, like always speaking negatively, that energy is going to just start to accumulate more so on the right. Or if you grew up with an abusive father, or you have an abusive husband, or male energy, female left. No. And this affects the frequency of your throat chakra. And invasive energies have a home. There's a low frequency match. You collect low frequency in your throat chakra. Well, there's a low frequency match for an invasive, and then you just move on in. What's the invasive going to do once he's living there? He's going to feed you negative messages. That's why you get mixed messages, negative thinking, and self-doubt. That collection of energy in your throat chakra. Because this is like, think about it. If you put on 10 different headphones playing 10 different things, somebody puts headphones on you too. Yeah, you're going to be hearing a bunch of different stuff, and you're not going to be able to tell. It's like trying to listen to 10 different headphones at the same time. Same thing's happening for your throat chakra. You have all this different energy. How can you get clarity? Especially if you have invasives, they're feeding you information. And this is why you don't trust your clairaudience. So it's not that you don't have clairaudience, it's that there's a disconnect and there's just too much noise that's interfering with your ability to receive a clear message. And I really want to bring this home, because this right here is a favorite spot for entities to attach to. They have access to the person's nervous system, the access to the person's voice, access to the person's mind. They can direct them negative mental images. They can direct them negative thoughts. And then they can feed on the nervous system, that anxiety that results. People like to cord right here too, to silence you or to feed you messages and override your own voice. I noticed that when I was in an abusive relationship, and I've been in a couple of abusive relationships, but when I was in an abusive relationship, my voice went away. I didn't have my voice anymore. And coming out of that abusive relationship and clearing my throat chakra, I realized my voice came back, and I realized my voice from my higher self. And I realized it's because they silence you so much. You can't hear yourself. You can't hear your voice. They want you to hear what they're saying. They want you to believe what they're telling you instead of what you already know to be true. That's how abusers are. But raising the frequency of this area of your throat chakra will protect it and your clairaudience. Entities can and often do travel in on sound frequency. And remember, sound frequency is energy, and these things are energy. So yeah, they can move in on sound frequency, and they often do move in on sound frequency. If a person has an entity on their throat chakra and you hear their voice, bam, that energy got into your throat chakra. The sound frequency of it lands here. I noticed this when I was spending time with some musicians. It was like the angels were giving me this like crash course through life experience, which that's largely how they've trained me through all this life experience, but they're pointing things out to me through these life experiences. And I was spending time with this group of musicians, and I was noticing that an entity would jump on their throat chakra and amplify. If an entity can get on a person's throat chakra, it'll amplify that entity's frequency to everybody. So yeah, an entity is going to want a musician's throat chakra. Look at how much an entity can amplify its power and its reach if it can get on a musician's throat chakra. And just like I said, if that energy lands in your throat chakra area, then there's a low frequency match for them. And here's a spoiler. News reporters, musicians, and politicians have entities in their throat chakras. Period. And I'm not going to say 100%, but a solid 99.99999% of them. So, that's why I try not to listen to any of them, honestly. Even music. It's sad for me because the more I became aware of this, the more it ruined music for me. A lot of musicians, especially if it's mainstream, okay? A lot of musicians, especially if it's mainstream. And yes, it can go either way. Musicians can also channel divine frequency too. Sometimes you just hear that music that's like so beautiful and so moving, they're channeling something divine, or they are divine, channeling their own divinity or their own higher self or their own angels or guides or power. But Sadly, our world, the state of our world, most of it's negative. Oh, psychic noise pollution from technology. I know this looks really messy, but that's freaking representative of what it's like. The sound frequency, EMF sound frequencies from electromagnetic frequency, from your Wi-Fi, from your Bluetooth, from your phone, from your TV, and the news, I mean, just because you can't hear it with your physical ears doesn't mean it's not assaulting your energetic senses or your energetic body. And like, I'll share with you some steps that I take to mitigate psychic noise pollution. I'm mindful with my media. I refuse to participate in low frequency conversations. I refuse to use Bluetooth. Because it just wrecks me. Entities love Bluetooth, I noticed. I use the FLFE Blue Shield device, and I turn off my Wi-Fi and phone at night. Now that's a big game changer too. Like just turning off your Wi-Fi and phone at night. So those are the little things that I've done. But like obviously it can't be avoided completely, right? We still have to live and exist in this world, in this society. So the solution is diligent clearing and repair. But let's address the disconnect. Before we go on to repair, let's address the disconnect because this is important. You're like, okay, Leah, you tell me I'm clairaudient. You tell me I have clairaudience. How do I know I have clairaudience? Most people believe that all of their thoughts are generated by their brain. Like that's kind of the prevailing belief, or that's what we've been taught, or that's what we've been socialized to think, that all our thoughts are generated by our brain. But let's reframe that. Okay. View them as psychic messages. Every single thought is a psychic message, some form of a psychic message. And let's identify them. Get clear in your identification. You have your self-talk from your ego self, and then you also have programming. And then you have your angels and guides, your telepathic messages, and invasives. Your self-talk could be positive or negative, right? Depending on if it's from your higher self or your ego self. Programming's what's been inherited, and I'm going to go into these. Your angels and guides are also talking to you, but you may not be recognizing it for what it is. And you could be receiving telepathic messages from other people, but you may not be recognizing it for what it is. Same for invasives. You may be like getting fed all these thoughts from invasive energies, thinking, wow, I'm a really negative thinker. Maybe it's not you. Maybe you're just being fed that energy from an invasive. Let's unpack each of these a little bit more because it's about discerning. So, wow, you are clairaudient. Every single thought you have is basically clairaudience. It's just learning how to discern, what is what. So your higher self-talk, it presents as wise, calm, insightful. Only when you're in a state of frequency to receive is that going to come in, like when you're waking up or when you're resting or doing self-care. And by the way, journaling, if you're just sitting there with a pen and paper and you're just writing whatever, it helps you get really clear. If you just write down your thoughts, it helps you to get a little more clear with your discernment because it'll be, I'll show you more here, look, because there's your ego self-talk too. And the ego self-talk is the loudest. It's your ego self-talk. And I'm not talking trash about the ego here. The ego has a very important job. Your ego is to keep you alive. Your ego is to help you to survive. That's the ego's job. But the problem with the ego is that ego is kind of like a child. Like it's very needy and it's very demanding. It just never shuts up, right? So like I would say like a good majority of your psychic messages are coming from ego. Like, you got to do this. Why aren't you doing that? You should have done this. You should have done that. Why are you doing this? All right. La, 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 la. Or give me this or give me that. Or I don't want this or I do want that. Or wait, I do want that. You know, that's ego. That's that ego self-talk. It's just needy and demanding and noisy. And most of us just kind of let our ego self-talk take the wheel, right? Discerning messages from other people, telepathy, conversations in your head, conversation. The key word here is conversation. If you're having a conversation in your head with someone, You're communicating with them telepathically. And they may be communicating back telepathically, whether they're consciously or unconsciously aware of it. Someone pops into your mind, telepathy. And this will vary according to the individual psychic strengths. Someone will pop into your head and then like a minute later, they'll call you or text you, right? That's that telepathy. And it can be loving or hostile, depending on the relationship, depending on the emotional or mental energy that they're putting out towards you in your mental conversation with them. Like that's telepathy. This is a lot of what can start to form cords, though, telepathy, but that's for another video, right? So discerning messages from invasives. You're going to remember that a message from an invasive is always going to present with anxiety. So if you're wondering, is this coming from my guides? If you have anxiety with it, it's not coming from your guides. Here's the thing about invasive energies, like entities. They're in spirit, they're in astral, they can see things, they can give accurate information. You can go to a psychic reader who gets information from entities and attachments, invasives, and they can give you accurate information. It's, you can get accurate information from a divine source or from an entity source, from a not divine source. You could get it from either source. But obviously, you don't want to get it from a negative entity because it's going to have a motivation with it. But if you get a word of caution from your angels, it's not going to present with anxiety. If you get a word of caution from entities, it's going to present with fear and anxiety. It'll help you, though, with your discernment and your disconnect to recognize, if you're thinking like, oh, I got this wrong, or oh, I got to get this right, then your higher self can come in and recognize and discern like, oh, that's my ego. That's my ego just feeling the need for survival. That's okay. That's an ego thought. And then you get a sense of inspiration and wisdom of like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should try this with my project. Well, maybe that's coming from your angels or your guides or your higher self. You'll start to discern a little more clearly between these different psychic messages that are all occurring in your mind. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to do our 3 steps to clear clairaudience. And the first step is going to be clear, repair, activate, and calibrate your throat chakra. The second step is going to be, we're going to invite in the divine and their high frequency to protect your throat chakra. Clearing the backside of your throat chakra helps a lot with your disconnect too. Clearing the backside, and we're going to be doing that. And I'm going to put out a couple caveats here. The throat chakra, there's a blue one right here, and the solar plexus chakra circulate together. The throat, all the chakras circulate together. So the crown chakra circulates with the root chakra. These two work together in union. The third eye chakra circulates with the sacral chakra. They work together in union. The throat chakra circulates with the solar plexus in union. And then the heart is like the nucleus. It circulates within itself in the higher heart chakra chambers. And that said, if there's a huge imbalance in one, there's going to be a huge imbalance in the other. So, if a blockage in one will affect the other, all chakras need to be fully cleared so they can be optimum, right? They need each other. They're like, think of them as gears. If even just one gear is broken, it's going to throw the whole system off. To get full clarity, you want all your chakras to be clear and flowing and strong. And then there's the meridians too. They exchange energy information, and blockage or damage prevents flow. The point of this is that we can isolate healing to the throat chakra, but in order to get the full benefit, all the other components of your energy system have to be addressed too, right? But this is still a good start. I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so step 1, we're going to clear, repair, activate, and calibrate your throat chakra. I have multiple approaches that we're going to be using today for clearing your throat chakra. Now we're going to first remember divine law of sovereignty. Your energy responds instantly to your direction. You just need a strategy and a means to communicate with it. That's going to be like your dominant psychic strength or your visualization or muscle testing. Energy will talk to you. Your energy will talk to you. It just needs a language to do so. Muscle testing is a popular language for communicating with energy. right? Kinesiology. I like visualization. That's my favorite. As long as you're giving yourself some language to speak to energy with. I just want to mention, don't worry if you're visualizing or just imagining. Your third eye chakra powers both your imagination and your visualization. When you're visualizing, you're speaking the favorite language of energy, which is symbolism. Energy loves the language of symbolism. That's why it is the most sacred language. The most ancient language of energy is symbolism. And when you're visualizing, you're speaking to energy with visualization or imagination, doesn't matter. You're speaking to energy. When you're imagining, you're speaking to energy and you're speaking its favorite language. The language is symbolism. So to clear your throat chakra, we're going to be using the symbol for your throat chakra of 2 funnels. How appropriate, right? You have a funnel at the front, funnel at the back. And so imagine you're holding a blue funnel that's double-sided, and you're going to ask, and the image that you're getting of your funnel is your energy presenting to you an image of that you can work with that's representing your throat chakra. So when I look at mine, it looks like it's an okay shape. Like if I examine the inside, it looks like I could afford to do some clearing. There's some little bit of accumulation of energy blockage on the inside. The outside looks like it's in okay shape, but just go ahead and just get an image of it. And if you can't get an image of it, that's okay. Just do this anyway, or just imagine. No harm is going to come from you just playing in imagination. I promise. First thing we're going to do is clear entities and attachments. Ask yourself, is there any entities and attachments targeting your throat chakra? And imagining your double-sided blue funnel. Okay, I see like this snake-looking thing, like kind of crawling across of it. Why didn't I see the snake at first? Well, I wasn't asking to. I'm seeing it now because I'm asking to. Reveal to me, energy, reveal to me if there's something there and what it looks like. Okay, I see it. There's something on my throat chakra. Okay, and you might see images of critters or things on your funnel and you don't get freaked out. You just ask your angels to please clear them and you'll notice that it'll disappear. Angels, please clear this. Yeah, and it's just started dissolving. And I noticed that my throat chakra got a little bit brighter too. Now we're going to clear some energetic cords. So you're going to take that image again, ask yourself if you have any cords on your throat chakra while imagining your blue funnel. And just see what shows up. So yeah, if you see any rope or vine light cords, just dissolve them with a healing light, just bringing the healing. You can pull them off, dissolve them with healing light, introducing that healing area energy into that area where it was. You can ask your divine team for help too. They're happy to help you. Now we're going to clear some emotional energy blocks or just any energy blocks that have accumulated inside of your funnel or outside. They can accumulate outside too. And then you're going to direct healing light on the energy blocks to dissolve them. You can also manually remove them, but like just to give you an idea, I'm looking at my funnel. I'm looking to see, do I have energy blocks? Well, I had seen them immediately, right, when I first scanned, because when I looked inside of it, and don't forget to look inside of your funnel. But when I looked inside of it, I could see like all of these like chunks inside of it. So I'm just gonna like pull them out. And to pull them out, you just intend. I'm intending to pull them out. I'm intending to move my fingers and pull them out of my throat chakra and dissolve them. And if you find that you're coughing or wanting to clear your throat, that is a really good sign. That is a really good sign. Very good for you to do. Okay. So pulling this stuff out of your throat chakra, out of the inside or out of the outside, looking at your funnel, asking if you have any blocks. And what's going to present to you is what you are ready to clear and what you can clear. And if you can't see anything or you can't get anything, just bring in your intention. Just bring in your power of intention. I've got my throat chakra right here, and I'm just cleaning all those energy blocks off of it. Okay. And I'm also asking the angels to please help me to clear all those blocks, all those energy blocks that have accumulated on the inside and the outside of my throat chakra. And your chakras can get damaged too. If you have any damage to your chakra, you look like they're smashed, torn, punctured, missing pieces. And you're just going to, again, bring in that divine healing light. I'm going to look and ask if I have any damage to my throat chakra. Yeah, they're telling me to look at the underside. So I'm going to rotate it. And I see this, it looks jagged, kind of like I have here in my image. I made these images a long time ago, by the way. So I've gotten better at image creation, but I still use them because they're relevant and they're appropriate to get the idea across. And then I'm just introducing some healing energy. And remember, your chakras in your aura will reform automatically once you get the debris or the psychic obstruction out of the way, the energetic obstruction out of the way, it'll reform on its own. But helping it to reform by directing it to reform and introducing that healing energy is going to help a lot. You can have missing parts. A lot of times I'll see chakras, they'll look smashed, they'll look smushed. And that'll be as a result of a really large energy block. There we go. So I'm looking to see, yeah, I'm working on the damage of my throat chakra. Because I like that area underneath, it was like that, like sort of jagged, black down, jagged, just cleaning it off. It's starting to reform now. Good. Again, you can ask your angels for help too. Angels, please help me repair any damage that I may have to my throat chakra. And now we're going to calibrate. And the way that you calibrate, well, first, let's just give your throat chakra a good wash of some divine healing energy. Just bring in that divine healing energy, wash off your throat chakra with as much divine healing energy. The more divine healing energy you bring into your throat chakra, that you're going to raise the frequency of your throat chakra, which is going to raise the frequency of your voice. It's also going to be safer because higher frequency is going to make it easier for you to hear messages from your divine team and from your higher self. It's going to make it easier for you to keep the ego like in its lane, and then calibrate by changing the color of blue to the color of blue that you feel like is best for you. Like just make the color of blue the one that you know is just right for you. Your favorite color of blue, the color of blue that you love the most. Vibration is color. Color is vibration. And when you change the color of your throat chakra, you're calibrating it to the right vibration, the right frequency that is going to best express your energy, yourself, your essence of your throat chakra, your vibration.